Hello, everyone. Welcome to the beginner's class for Moon and Emotion, which is about exploring your emotional nature. I am going to share my screen and we'll get this started. All right. So, as I said, Moon and Emotion. We're going to talk about the meaning of the moon in elements, in signs and modalities through the houses, and then talk about some future classes that we're having. So the moon is I feel. It's your emotions, it's your intuition and instincts, your mother, it's your inner child and your moods. So we're going to start by talking about the moon in fire signs, which are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, which, the moon is emotional, it's water, and the moon in a fire sign is kind of steamy. It's passionate and inspirational and optimistic. On the shadow side of that, though, that could mean overdoing things, burnout, being too impulsive or angry. Uh, but even in a fire sign, grounding um, for the moon in there would be like physical movement. Go exercise, go take your dog for a walk, do something that is physical that will kind of bring you back into your space where you belong. All right, then moon in earth signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. That's the earthy signs. It's very tactile. So, sensory experiences, feeling, silk on your body, being patient and calm and having those routines, very moon and earth. On the shadow side, or when you're out of alignment, that might be okay, well, I'm just gonna just start buying more to make me feel better. I don't feel good, so let's go spend some money, go shopping, do something, get some material things in here. Or maybe it's about being fearful of making a move, making a change in your life that needs done, or just thinking too much, overthinking, over worrying. That's moon and earth. But on that shadow side, it can be restored with earthy things, getting back to reliability, having reliable people around you, being reliable yourself, um, finding comfort in your surroundings, the things that really make you feel good, and just grounding yourself, going out and walking in the grass barefoot, things like that. That's very moon and earth grounding for emotions. Then we have the moon in air, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And so those air signs, it's about ideas, sharing ideas and conversations, getting perspectives, sharing your perspective, getting perspective from others. On the shadow side, when you're out of alignment, it might be removing your emotion and going too far and becoming too detached, or maybe just too many things coming at once, too many ideas, too many things that just overwhelm you're emotionally. So, in an air sign, that can be renewed by connection, sitting with that person that really makes you feel good, where you can share your thoughts and share each other, connect emotionally, share your perspectives in a grounded way. So then you have your moon in water in Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And the moon in water, that reminds you of ocean tides coming and going, ebbing and flowing. And so those, how our feelings can sway with the tides, as people say. And so these signs are very empathic. They feel, They are very deep, their emotions go deep, and they're very intuitive. That's all that moon in water. But out of alignment, it can be too much. They can be moody or just emotional overload and not knowing how to handle it. So it can be restored by being true about your emotions, true to your emotions, or finding some way of expressing it creatively or spiritually, meditating, finding a safe connection with someone else. So, next, let's talk about the moon through the signs, through the zodiac, starting with the moon in Aries. So Aries is a cardinal fire sign and it's ruled by Mars. So the vibes with this moon are initiating things, taking right action, starting a new project, or beginning something in the right way. The moon in Aries, the kind of watery and that fire, you want to stay hydrated. It's the spice of life. It can mean personal change, a Queen of Wands kind of feeling. So if you're in the shadow side, you need to course correct and you can want to check in with yourself and ask some questions. It's like, okay, I'm going down this path. Where can I've somehow gotten off of it. Where can I correct my course and get back on that path? Or where can I be mindful of taking on too much, burning out, or just being too selfish with my needs? That's overwhelm in Moon and Aries. So the moon in Taurus, which is that fixed earth sign ruled by Venus, is about creature comforts, those the stability and routines in our life, the consistency of our friends, the consistency of our work, strength training, just so you're strong in body. It can be about going out and having your favorite meal at your favorite restaurant, or just going to your spiritual side and having faith over fear, very Queen of Coins. So, if you're out of sorts, out of sync, your emotions are too much in Taurus, find a way to ground your energy and ask yourself what feels right, what feels stable, how can I root myself and stabilize my emotions. So the moon in Gemini is a mutable air sign ruled by Mercury. So, it's about communication and focus, and it can be about your memory or friends, truth, information, writing. It's a very Queen of Swords feeling. So, if you're out of alignment, your personal check-in is to ask yourself, where can I make better choices? Where can I be more discerning about the decisions that I'm making, or the commitments that I'm making to others? Or what is it that I want to know more about? What do I want to learn? Where do I want to grow? Then the moon in Cancer, the cardinal water sign ruled by the moon. Very happy, moon in Cancer. So that's about home and family and cooking your favorite meal, or it's a very intuitive sign. So, just paying attention to your intuition is moon in Cancer. It's nurturing, it's mothering others, or talking to your inner child, emotional healing, being a homebody. It's a Queen of Hearts vibe. So, if that's out of alignment, it's in shadow. Your personal check-in with yourself is, okay, do I need to pull back and spend some time alone, be solitary for a little bit just to recharge without my family, or with my family, if we can just settle in and do something quiet together? Or how can you find an opportunity to care for yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed. You know, take a bubble bath, go have your favorite coffee shop hot drink, something that makes you feel good, maybe a massage. That will bring you back into alignment, help you with your emotions. All right, the moon in Leo, that fixed fire sign ruled by the sun. That's steamy too, feisty, flirty. It's very entertaining. Leo's the actor. It can be very passionate and courageous, but it's also a very fun and playful Queen of Wands kind of vibe. So, if you feel off kilter with your moon in Leo, maybe you need to find a way to lighten up. Maybe you're not having enough fun, and that's what you need to do. You need to go and find a way just to, um, live a little more. Um, think about what sounds fun for you. What can you do just to lighten your mood a little bit? Then we go to Moon in Virgo, mutable earth sign, ruled by Mercury. It's, Virgo, the little things, being of service and problem solving. It's about details in your health, your pets, things that make you feel good with the moon in Virgo, your hearth, just everyday chores can be something that's very helpful for a Virgo earth sign with your moon there. So if it's off kilter, as I said before, or your personal check-in would be, okay, am I too focused on something? Am I too, my emotions are all tied up in this one detail, or I'm just thinking about it too much. Maybe you have lingering analysis paralysis, and you need to clean your house or clean your mind or clean your body. What would it feel like to get organized again? What part of your life needs to be organized or reorganized? With the moon in Libra, that cardinal air sign ruled by Venus, it's about your relationships being in balance, about your companionship, your partnerships, that equality within those things. And of course, in Libra with Venus, it's about beauty. Maybe you like going to art galleries or meeting at the coffee shop in an art gallery and then walking to look at all the beautiful art. It's about love and luxury, Queen of Air. So, to balance yourself, if you're feeling out of balance, ask yourself, am I in right relationship with myself? Am I in right relationship with others? How can I get balanced again? So we go to Moon in Scorpio, a fixed water sign, co-ruled by Mars and Pluto. So here, you've heard people say Scorpio is about sex, death, and taxes. Well, definitely that is a vibe for Moon and Scorpio as far as the sex and death go. It's passionate, it's intense. It's, the moon wants to get to the bottom of things and find the truth about things. It wants to dig deep. It will meditate. Just it wants that deep connection and emotions, find those emotions under the surface within themselves and with other people. It can be extreme tendencies, but it's also very sensual, Queen of Wands and Queen of Cups, the two kinds of feelings there. So with Scorpio moon, the question to ask yourself if you're not feeling in balance is, okay, let me think about this. What are my motives really? Why am I seeking this information out? Why am I digging so deep in this one area? Or what is it that I'm not recognizing? What is subconscious that is driving me? Ask these questions, figure it out, and you can get back to we're looking at life's mysteries in the Scorpio moon way. Moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter. My moon is in Sagittarius, and it is about adventure and truth. Um, new ideas, being spontaneous, travel, foreign travel, um, meditation, just having joy and wisdom in your life. Queen of Wands. So the thing about a moon in Sagittarius is it can be very excited about a new opportunity, but to personal check in if it's not feeling right is what am I not being honest with myself about? Why is it that I'm leaning toward doing this? Is it something that's really right for me? Or what adventures do I need to go on? What do I want to do next? Moon in Sagittarius. All right, so Moon in Capricorn, a cardinal air sign ruled by Saturn. And so Capricorn, that earth sign, I'm sorry, that air sign, is still a ground. It needs grounding with their moon. It's about growing and stabilizing. It's about long-term views of things, about planning and restructuring, make sure you have a solid ground underneath you, a new foundation. It's very focused, very Queen of Coins, doing the work in the right way. So with the moon in Capricorn, to check in with yourself, you could ask yourself, okay, what does it mean for me to root to rise today? Moon in Capricorn. Next is moon in Aquarius, fixed air, ruled by Uranus and Saturn. About teamwork, your team, your network, your friends, your groups. It's about humanitarian causes and sharing. It's visionary and just having a healthy sense of detachment. Queen of Swords. Personal check-in for a moon in Aquarius would be, am I being too rigid? Where can I maybe, I need to look at something new. What is there a new way of thinking about something? Uh, where where am I being too with that rigid thinking? What am I thinking about that maybe I need to put a little detachment, put a little air between myself and that thought, bringing me back to the vibes for the moon in Aquarius in a healthy sense. All right, moon in Pisces, mutable, water, co-ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. It's very spiritual and generous. It's about daydreams and dream journals, very compassionate. It's very optimistic and mystical. Empathic. That's a big word for moon in Pisces. It can be about water conservation or meditation. For a personal check-in for a moon in Pisces, it's have I given myself healthy escapes rather than going too far the other way into an unhealthy escapism route, drugs or drinking. Let me get back to healthy escapes. Have I created healthy boundaries for myself? Or maybe you think about your next creative project. Where can you pull yourself that brings you back to that creative part of yourself for the moon in Pisces? So let's move on and talk about the moon in the houses. We won't go too much into this, but what we're looking at here, we've got the first going around. The first, if your moon is in there, and as is my moon in Sagittarius, is in my first house. It's a very intuitive moon. In the second house, it brings around themes of material security. In the third house, that moon would add a layer of intuitive writing. Fourth house moon would be family first. Fifth house moon would be more about children and creativity. Sixth house would be about health fluctuations. Seventh house would be about mothering partners or mirroring partners. Eighth house is that emotional alchemist. Ninth, security in religion or philosophy. 10th house is the reputation, the queen. 11th house is that desire to belong to your group, the right people for you. And the 12th house is in secrets and redemption. So, to get into it a little more, oh, went one too far. The moon in the first house, your emotions just show up immediately. Some people, you might be able to read their emotions on their face, and maybe leading with your heart before your head. I did that a lot when I was younger. Can come across as warm and caring, but sometimes be seen on the opposite as impatient or restless. But with a moon in the first house, when you can express your emotions and feel safe and express them freely, that's when you feel most like yourself. With that moon in the second house, relationships with money can shift your mood. Do I have enough? Do I not have enough? That can affect your emotions in the second house. So if you're in debt, I mean, you might feel really unsettled. You might be afraid of what's coming. But so on the other side of that, if you know you have things lined up, you know you're paying the bills for the next month, you've got enough, it brings you that emotional calm that you need. So a moon in the second house, building savings is something that would really matter. In the third house, that house of communication, it's the moon is curious and communicative. It's a talent for, maybe you're the person that decides to start studying Spanish in grade school or middle school, and you just learn it quickly. It's just easy for you. Or maybe you sit and you think about your emotions too much rather than just allowing yourself to feel them. Or on the other side of things, it might be the other way around. But as you grow and you learn, you find balance between the two. The moon in the fourth house is about home and belonging. It could manifest about frequent moves if you live somewhere and it just doesn't feel right, or you're not comfortable there, or you're maybe moving furniture a lot to get it to feel just right for you. The search for where you belong is an ongoing journey with the moon in the fourth house. Moon in the fifth house is about sharing your experiences with others, your emotional experiences with other people, your loved ones. And it's a house naturally of Leo. So there's that natural flair for drama. Love affairs can be very intense, not taken lightly. It's like jump in and those sparks are flying. A person with a moon in the fifth house can just be very attached to children, any child. It's just children speak to them. It's about creative hobbies that might change and shift often. You might be into watercolor today and tomorrow you've switched to oil. They're a daydreamer at heart and connected to their inner child, which of course is connected to that attachment with children. Moon in the sixth has that emotional need to be organized, to be productive, and feel useful. So if their daily life feels chaotic, they're going to not be in sync with themselves. Um, they need variety. They need to be stimulated at their work or what they're volunteering at to feel fulfilled. And job changes might happen quickly or frequently, just trying to find that perfect fit. So the moon in the sixth house, uh, that routine can be challenging in a job. Moon in the seventh house. They're drawn to partnerships and prefer to have that partner, that companion for support. They need that for emotional support in the seventh house. They're just not comfortable doing things alone. Going out to a restaurant by themselves it doesn't feel quite right. They want that partner with them to really enjoy that special dining experience. And it's almost like those relationships are a mirror for them. They learn about themselves and their emotions and needs from their partner, and it awakens things in them they might not have discovered by themselves. The moon in the eighth house has a really deep need for emotional security, yet they're also drawn to pushing their personal limits. So when they make a change in their life, it's often because they need a challenge or they need to uh, reinvent themselves emotionally, kind of a death and a rebirth with their emotions, if you will. Um, and they like to know how people think, what makes people tick. Might be drawn to those, documentaries about why someone became a serial killer kind of thing, the taboo subjects, that hidden side of life. They're fascinated by topics like that. Moon in the ninth, um, they need some stimulation, not just routines every day. They need to mix it up a little bit in their life. So they're naturally curious and philosophical about people, about cultures, about the world. Going to a new city, a new country, and just eating the food in the culture there, that would be special for a moon in the ninth house. Um, if they don't know what they have to pursue where they're going, they might be a little unhappy and discontented. The moon in the 10th house is about recognition. They feel good when you notice what they've done. They feel good when you acknowledge the work that they did or an achievement that they met and received. They're charismatic and they to get those recognition, etc., they're emotionally attached to being structured and responsible in life. Um, Although they may not always be that way, that kind of develops through time and growth. Moon in the 11th house. They want to feel supported by friends. They want to belong to the right group, to their people, where they're comfortable. And the thing about the moon in the 11th house is they don't just want to feel supported, they want to give back. They want to provide that emotional support to others just as much. That makes them be fulfilled. So if they don't have that or a social life that's contains that special group for them or special groups for them, they're not going to be comfortable. They're not going to have emotional security. So that could, provide wavering feelings with other people that causes friction. The moon in the 12th house is sensitive. They're empathic. They walk into the room and they just feel things. They've got all that emotion. They don't know maybe what's theirs, what's somebody else's, which might delay reactions to what's really there, their own emotional experiences. So because of that mix of the emotions, they often need to separate themselves to emotionally recharge. Frequent stepping back and out of frequent solitude, and that need to withdraw could, on a shadow side, make a person feel isolated or misunderstood. So there's a big need with a moon in the 12th house to learn how to set emotional boundaries. So this quote, "Language exerts hidden power like the moon and the tides" by Rita Mae Brown, reminds me to tell you that so do you. The moon, you have moon tides in your own life. So your moon sign is your emotional language. You were born with it long before you were taught that you needed to edit yourself. Um, you you knew it pulled at you. You knew how to feel. The moon that moves in the ocean. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to justify yourself. You just have to know it. Learn your moon and what you need when your shadow comes out to play, when you need the sun to come back out. Because when you understand your moon, you understand the tides in your life. So the upcoming classes. I first of all, when I send you this recording for this moon class, I'll be attaching a moon basics handbook. There's a little bit of workbook stuff in there, but it'll have sheets on the moon, the signs as a house, and the houses for you to keep. Upcoming classes, I'm really excited about the next one. It's a conversation about Uranus entering Gemini, which happens this month. Now we know it started or it went there for a little bit last summer. Then it went back into Taurus in retrograde, but now we're going to enter Taurus or Gemini again this month. So the class is about changing frameworks and changing perspectives. And I hope you'll join me so we can have a conversation about this. May 6th, the beginner class will be about the big three, the sun, moon, and rising. May 27th, for the advanced class, is Chiron entering Taurus, which also happens. It's the transit that's occurring in May, and it's healing, worth, and security. June 3rd, the beginner class is the lunar nodes. And on the 24th, the advanced class will be given by Tiffany Harelik on the Mercury retrograde cycles. That'll be exciting. So here you go. We've got resources. I use some information from cafeastrology.com. They've got a great section on the moon if you want to go there. We've got the Y Skies moon handout. Well, actually, some of the information for the handout that I have for you, I pulled from the Y Skies moon workbook. A lot of great information in that. Let's see. I also want to mention the workbook I have on my website now. This was created based on the presentation that I gave for the Wholehearted Summit that Dr. Sally put on in February at the Saturn and Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries. So it's a workbook that is focused on breaking those inherited patterns and cycles that we may have taught or we may have just brought into this world with us through our family lineage. But based on that, that was a great time to begin work. But this doesn't have to have started then. It could have started then, and it's just something that you're continuing to work on. But it's something that you can go to again and again. And so I'm offering it to the membership for half price for $15. There's a coupon code 50 off that you would use. You just go to the website to resources and you'll find that. I thank you for being here, and I will see you next time.